I'm standing in the mystical city of Safed. As you can see, there's a beautiful sunset before me. I want to share with you the Jewish view of reality. In the beginning, before time and space, time and space, as Einstein said, are really one dimension. They are part and parcel of each other. There's no time without space and no space without time. Space is really just the time between one place and another. But before Einstein, there was Jewish mysticism, Kabbalah. And everything that we are discovering in quantum physics, the deepest sciences, it's already been revealed in the Kabbalah and Jewish mysticism. But much deeper. Because the mind can only see and categorize what it can see. But there are realities that are beyond what we see. If I asked you for a moment, who are you? It has nothing to do with your body. That may be where you are, but it's not who you are. Your feelings, what's important to you, that's not a body, that's a soul. I had a conversation with someone today, and she said, what do you think about Descartes, who said something about, I forgot exactly what it was, something about the mind, perception of self. I said, listen, the mind is not who we are. The mind is a tool that who we are uses. Just like you walk, you think, but it's the you that is thinking. There's some kind of statement, I think, therefore I am. But who is thinking? Who is the am that is thinking? You see, my dear friends, it is a big mistake to think that what you think is what you think. What is motivating you is a soul. And the soul, on one level, seeks to exist and seeks to have pleasure, not to have pain. It seeks to be united with its source, like every child. And the reason for all of existence is because the Creator desired it. That's it. He simply desired it. Why did he desire it? The example I like to give is I ask people, would you like to have children? Of course, most people say yes. Why? Because many different reasons. And I always delight in telling them, it's not really that. It's not about perpetuating yourself. It's because you love them. And everyone agrees. You see, there are two types of love. There's the love of someone because they have something you love. And then there's the love of someone because you love them. You admire them. Admiration is true love. And so, my dear friends, God admires you. He admires you. Yes, he really does. Because you represent him, and he is good, and he sees in you who he is. He sees your goodness, your compassion. In fact, it states when God wanted to create the world, he actually asked what's called midas emes. He asked truth, should I create the world? And truth said no, people lie. And then he asked goodness, kindness, compassion. Should I create the world? And goodness, kindness, and compassion said, yes, people are very compassionate. They're very kind and they're very good. And so God took truth and he threw it down and he created the world for the sake of goodness and kindness. You see, what does love love? Love loves love. Again, what does love love? Love loves love. I remember I was the rabbi in this little resort town, and there was this beautiful little girl who had some kind of genetic abnormality, and she couldn't really walk. She had to be carried everywhere. And one time her father told me, he said, Sabrina, she was at the beach, and they would always carry her everywhere. And she tells her dad, tell those two kids to play. Here's a girl that couldn't play. But what was she concerned about if other kids were playing? You see, my friends, God loves you. and he loves love. And that's why he made so many things in his beautiful world, people and plants and animals. We are living in a world where there's a lot of separation, but separation is not the norm. Separation is born out of jealousy. You know what it's jealous of? It's jealous of connection. We all want to feel loved. We all want to feel connected. But in order to do that, we cannot stay within our own paradigm, because our paradigm is ultimately a mixture of heaven and earth, of God, our soul, and our body, of selfishness and selflessness. And as long as we have that mix, which is what happened when Adam and Eve ate of the tree of knowledge, they mixed the good and the bad, the selfless and the selfish. We cannot truly unite, because true unity is based on getting beyond yourself, getting into your infinite self. The first statement that God said to the first seeker, which was Abraham, he said, Lech lecha, go into yourself. And one of the greatest commentators, Rashi, says, I will show you who you are. You don't even know. And Abraham was so great, he discovered God at the age of 3. He was no slouch, but he didn't know himself. He knew God, but he didn't know himself. Because God is telling us, first you need to abandon your perception of self, however you think you are, in order to discover who you truly are. For you are a part of me, and I am unlimited. And as Abraham discovered that he was unlimited, the Torah says, Halayich v'nasaya hanegba. He was able to continuously journey. He was able to get beyond a finite self-definition into a unification with God, where every moment, as one of my friends, David Pack, told me, his grandmother, a very great woman who I had the privilege of meeting, Maria da Vinci, great lady, Holocaust survivor, built an empire, gave tremendous charity. She said, in every meeting, there is meaning. And that's the secret of life, that every moment is orchestrated. This moment is not random. If you are watching this, it is not random. From the beginning of time, it was ordained that I would say the words I am saying, that you would hear the words I am hearing, and hopefully that they would transform your perception of reality. For there have been 3 upgrades in human consciousness. The first upgrade was the upgrade of Abraham. Most of the world believe as he believed. He realized that the world cannot be random. Scientifically, it's not possible that so many amazing scientific phenomena occur that cause life. There are just too many factors to create life. You know, as far as the eye can see, and that's 14 billion light years, there are 100 billion galaxies, and every galaxy has 100 billion stars, and every star has a planet. That's untold numbers, and all we can see is life is here. From the gravitational pull, from the ozone layer, from the specific space that we live in, from the sun, from the oxygen, from the nitrogen. There are so many billions of miracles for any little creature to exist. Never mind for us all to exist. There has to be a singular force that made us all. So Abraham went away from what we call in game theory a zero-sum game. The world is a rat race. Who's going to be the fattest, biggest, most cruel rat? He said, no. The world is a love race. Who's going to love more? Who's going to give more? He opened up a free hotel. You could come to him, stay for a night, eat for free, and he'll share with you his wisdom without any judgment. And that was Abraham, and that is the Torah, that is goodness. And the next great revelation, of course, was Mount Sinai, where God clearly came, the only time. You know, there are There's a guy that did a study, I think his name is Kellerman, of 150 faiths. And each faith is based on one person or two people. Muhammad said that the angel Gabriel revealed himself to him in a cave. Maybe that happened. Maybe it didn't. You don't know. But if that's wrong, 1.4 billion people are making a very serious error in life. But listen to this. The only time that millions of people witnessed the revelation of God was going out of Egypt. Was Mount Sinai the only time that millions of people saw it simultaneously? And they wrote it down in the book, the Torah. They celebrate it in Passover every year. And we are the children of those people. This becomes the historical fact that the only time God revealed himself to millions of people was then. And in that revelation, God said, listen, there are the Jewish people, and you have to be a light unto the nations. I'm giving you extra responsibility. It says, B'ni b'choyer Yisrael, my firstborn son Israel. You see, my dear friends, the Jewish people are here, as most of the world believe now, to be a beacon of light. And that takes tremendous, tremendous responsibility. It hasn't been easy for the Jewish people, and it's not easy, because there's jealousy of light. And Jews have been persecuted and murdered and tortured. And as we speak right now, there are Jews suffering in Hamas tunnels. And I hope they all die, the Hamas and all the terrorists, and release these innocent people taken from their homes. Evil, as we speak right now, that wishes to destroy us. And God said, listen, I have a way of life, 613 good deeds for the Jews. But many people don't know that he also had 7 universal laws. The law, 6 given to Adam, 1 of them to Noah. The law to not worship idols. Don't worship anything but your God. The law to not curse God. You don't know why things happen. If something happened, trust God and keep on going. The law to create a justice system. You know, this insanity of getting rid of the police and the justice system. Of course, criminals don't like police. And what would they do? They would rape and pillage and murder and steal. No, you have to have a justice system. And no justice system is perfect, but it's infinitely better than not having one. You know, in Montreal, Canada, I think it was in the 1960s, the police went on strike. You know what happened that day? There were murders, there were bank robberies, and one day civilization dissolved. You have to have a justice system. It's actually an Islamic teaching. Better 1,000 years of tyranny than one day of anarchy. And there's a truth to that. Because even under a king that may be a tyrant, at least most people can behave and be free. But under anarchy, all people are under tyranny. You know, with Hurricane Katrina, there were black gangs that were shooting at the helicopters they took over. They're raping women. That's not okay. That's not what the civilization needs. Civilization needs morality and justice. And another law, which was given to Noah, not to be cruel to animals and to all people, of course. And another law, not to commit adultery or deviant sexual behavior. You know, God gave us intimacy for marriage. It should be a sacred union that hopefully produces offsprings, but it should not be just because I want a libido gratification and I'll do whatever I want. That's lower than an animal. Even birds mate for life. And God said, do not steal, respect other people's property, just as you want your property respected. Of course, do not kill. Respect other people's lives as you want your life respected. And it all boils down really to goodness and kindness. And do the things that you think you should be doing. And last but not least is the final revelation of God. And that is occurring in the Messianic era that we're living in now. And that is where God becomes revealed to you personally. As he was revealed to Moses, as he was revealed to the prophets, he becomes revealed to you. And 62% of the world, based on Gallup polls, believe that they have a personal connection to God. So we are already living in the Messianic era. Every generation has a Messiah. according to the Jewish belief. Many Jews, most Jews in fact, believe the Lubavitcher Rebbe fits the qualification. Great man who helped bring down communism, who did so much for the world. But the bottom line is that we are already in the beginning stages of the future. The Jews have been returned to Israel. And I want to conclude with one idea that is a takeaway message. And that is that if you could have a direct conversation with God, would you like to? Most people will say yes. Now, if you don't want that, I really beg of you, stop this video right now. Because you know what, my dear friends, this will change your life. It changed mine. It put me into hell for 2-3 years until I was accustomed to it. It's not an easy way to live, but if you get it, it's the best way to live. All you need to do to receive God's divine wisdom is ask Him. And the first thought, not an emotion or feeling that comes to your mind, is His reply. And after He replies, say thank you, because thank you pushes away the forces of darkness is the most important prayer we can do. And then, my dear friends, after you say thank you and you do it, you will see the results. Many religions make you wait till you die to figure out if they're true. But what I am telling you now, you can do while you're living right now. And you can test it right now to see if it's a benefit. Thank you so much for listening to me. We are in the third dimension of the direct relationship with God, and with God's help we will see the Messianic revelation with the resurrection of the dead, with the Holy Temple coming down, with clouds bringing all the Jewish people and their assets to Israel. And as it states then, every Sabbath the whole world will be coming to the Holy Temple, will be united, one world under God, united and purposeful for eternity.